Oh, and announce that live. Hey, welcome to the show. Yeah, I got a big settlement coming. Woo!
You
$47.
$47.
47 big dollars. The Amazon class action lawsuit from like 2019.
That should get you a couple headshots and a blowjob, as far as I know. $47.
I don't know if it'll get me that much. Whee. Mr. Brown, happy Wednesday. Man, I'm all over the place here. I rearranged my office and everything, and nothing is right. Everything is backwards, and yeah, that's where I'm at. Everything is all cattywampus right now.
Sofa King, NorCal RC.
NorCal, what's happening? Oh, I had some.
JM, what's up, buddy?
Almost, I even forgot my notes.
You even forgot your notes? Oh, this is gonna be.
I
only got just a couple notes, but I mean, we talked about most of that right before the show. So
yeah, I don't really have that many notes myself, but I know.
Well, I don't actually write anything down, right? That'd be ridiculous.
I usually write down about half, because a lot of times what will happen is I'll be sitting in the house on the couch, and I'll think of something, and I'll be like, oh man, I gotta remember to write that down, and then I don't write it down. And sometimes I'll remember later when I'm sitting here and I'll write it down, but most of the time I don't. Half the stuff I want to talk about ends up I never get to talking about it because I forget.
Well, like I said, maybe we'll just start. I mean, how do you? I want to get the Dangerous Association on Facebook. How do I get to where?
you have to start.
You're too dangerous to
posting offensive in this day and age. Offensive posts, offensive memes, and whatnot.
Because I made a post on Facebook that Facebook took down and said that I was posting dangerous stuff.
And it was purely because it was a picture of Steven
It had
Crowder.
Steven Crowder in it.
Yeah.
So apparently Facebook, I don't know if Steven Crowder knows this or not, but Facebook considers you dangerous, Steven. And I want to be on that goddamn list.
Hey, what's up, Jesse? Yeah, it was downright chilly this morning. We got down to 22 here last night. I think today we had a high of 39. So it was cold all day. Oh man, I got an itch. I got it.
Hashtag goals, right? Yeah, I mean, well, the thing about it is like I just can't believe the post had nothing to do with Steven Crowder, really. It just happened to be a meme with him in it. Everybody knows that meme.
Facebook.
And then all of a sudden, I've used that meme before. We've seen that meme before. Everybody's seen this meme before. It's Steven Crowder at the table. It's the Change My Mind meme.
It's the Change My Mind meme, and it's a billion times over that thing's been used. But for whatever reason, Facebook decided today that, oh no, JB, you're dangerous.
You can't post that. You can't post Steven Crowder Change My Mind post because that's dangerous talk.
Hey, here's some bad news to start the show off.
Awesome.
Evidently, there is a developing story that multiple students were stabbed at a Van Nuys High School Wednesday morning.
Just stabbed?
School was placed on lockdown. Well, I'm wondering how we're gonna.
My cousin was
in this one is. Was he carrying an assault knife? Is it a semi-auto assault knife? We're going to have to ban assault knives now. Tactical knives.
My cousin was stabbed 17 times.
At the same time?
At the same time. With a Swiss Army knife. I should
Ooh.
mention. So
A million and
Blade,
one uses.
like this. Like, imagine being stabbed with a toothpick a bunch of fucking times.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I imagine that this is going to get spun into something, but it kind of shoots the whole. We got to ban guns because of mass shootings thing, because people said, you ban guns and they'll start stabbing people.
Earl in the house.
They'll start throwing rocks at people. You ban rocks, then, well, shit, if they ban rocks, we're all in trouble.
Tattoos anyone?
Thompson, RC Cape Cod. Man, the chat went crazy here.
I know. Really, I got to ask, what's with the tattoos now? And then did you see that? Okay, so the lockdown schools daily. Now, the thing that you just read did not come up in the YouTube chat. YouTube blocked that. Apparently, they don't want you to know that they lock schools down daily in California.
Well, we're going to show them.
I got chat side by side this time, you guys. I'm checking.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, in the last week, there's a couple things that happened. They had the Army reservist firearms instructor that I think it was 22 people that he killed. They went into a bar and started shooting up the bar in Maine.
Even my phone has an issue with that.
But
toothpick X times tattoo. Yeah, there you go. That's like a prison tattoo where they do it with the safety pin, and then you get an infection and you got to go to the. Anyways, but go ahead.
There was that whole thing that happened, and then freaking Matthew Perry, dude, Chandler Bing.
See, now you're informing me.
In his
and you could probably take down
jacuzzi.
Dying in his jacuzzi.
Yeah, he died. They found him in his jacuzzi. 56 years old. And they still haven't said what he actually died of. Because according to friends and whatnot, he'd been sober for a couple of years. But poor Mr. Perry had struggled with addiction problems for a number of years. And that was my initial thought was he passed out.
Is really not a bad way to go, though, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming he was probably unconscious and he slumped down and he drowned himself.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
I have heard that it is the most peaceful way to go. Now, me personally, I would think like a big old 308 or a 30-06 right through the medulla oblongata would be the fastest way. You wouldn't know.
You better do it. I'm gonna tell you, you better do that shit outside because ain't nobody gonna want to clean up that fucking mess. Let me tell you something. You'll be that asshole. Great. Now I'm cleaning. No. Anyways, you could probably take down Earl's comment.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take that down.
Apparently, Sofa King is way quicker than I am this evening. He knows what prison tattoos are. I think I still getting stabbed with a Swiss Army knife is a little bit more severe than a prison tattoo. I realize it's not much of a blade, but
what do you call a guy with no arms and no legs floating in a hot tub? Stew. What do you call a woman with with one leg? Eileen.
There you go. Yeah.
What do you call her Oriental sister? Irene.
Oh, and it's good every time I hear it.
I've been getting my fill of dad jokes lately. The mad. It's like a bunch of guys and girls that do. It's like a drinking contest.
Yeah.
But they got this. They got this Asian guy, Alan, that is. He's like stone face. It did, like, he is the one that they all shoot for, trying to make them laugh. We're just oh
boy.
What is he in the pool?
We got him going.
I think he's Bob in the pool. He's Matt if he's on the front doorstep. But Mr. Brown, where does Eileen work?
Yeah, I was waiting for this one. I was waiting for that one to drop. If you hang him on the wall, is he art?
That's a good one. Man.
Eileen works at IHOP.
That's a good one.
Only during the breakfast hours, because that's a jump in time.
Oh.
What are you reading? What are you looking at? Use your words, Rich.
Man, I said it before, but
this is your show. I can't just carry it for you.
They're what's happening, Robert? There are beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
In the beer holder. Yes.
And I'm not exactly sure how a woman that's pushing 400 pounds, at least 400 pounds, is bringing in $3 million a year on OnlyFans. How is that happening?
There are some guys who really like that stuff, Rich.
But how? How? I can understand a big girl. You know?
Yeah.
Big girl, there's nothing wrong with it. But that is
everybody needs love, Rich.
It takes him back to the old Andrew Dice Clay days. In his whole bit about Hagen.
Selling it by the pound. There you go. Look, there is this. I don't know. I don't know if you. I mean, I assume that you know this. I mean, you're an adult, but there is a huge fetish over women.
I get that, but I understand the.
Just like the eating thing, the ASMR thing, or Earl's toes, or anything like that.
And I understand the chubby thing, but this is beyond that. This is in the realm of
let's oh yeah, here it goes. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these comments, I'm gonna go ahead and show this, but you guys be nice to the big ladies.
This is beyond a big girl. This is this is.
Look, if you're 2 seats on the airplane, I don't care. Just buy both seats. That's
this
all
is
I'm asking.
big. This is big girl plus. Big girl plus.
If you got to rent a C-130 to get there, then you do that. But don't you bitch at me.
I guess the shocking part is that much money. How is anybody making that much money on OnlyFans? Because I've never met anybody that actually goes to OnlyFans.
That's because you and I live in a generation of men who don't do that. I mean, most of us, I would say most of us here, even chat present, probably don't need to do that, or don't do that just in general, because why would you? It's like going to a strip club or something. That's how I look at OnlyFans. Because an OnlyFans subscription to a girl, let's say you find a girl on OnlyFans that you like. The subscription is like your door cover, and they charge you like a door cover, basically. And then everything afterwards are like the services that they would provide as a stripper. And kind of, because you're never going to really see this girl or be with this girl, for Christ's sake. I mean, come on. So, unless she's that kind of girl too.
Because we value money at our age.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we've kind of thrown I mean, we've the younger generation has seemed to thrown ethics out the window and just gone with the money grab. And we are of a generation where we just, I mean, I would say that. I don't know, maybe I'm throwing that out there a little too far. Maybe I'm going a little too far with that, but
no, I think I think that's a pretty good explanation. I'm shocked. I've seen the numbers of OnlyFans Corporation, and they have like small country GDP money that they're making.
Yeah.
So that means there's a
lot of money in OnlyFans. Yeah. Like I said, I think it's one of the reasons that they hired so many auditors at the beginning of the year. I'm not entirely sure what they're going for, but I know that a lot of people are making money through things like that they're not recording. They're not reporting. Like, believe it or not, and I mean, it was just because it was because I was in social media for so long. That's how I know about this. It's a part of social media. OnlyFans is a part of social media. It's just a different part of social media. And I know a couple girls that make millions of dollars a year that drive around in Ferraris and have nice houses, and yeah, it's real. It's out there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a wonder why the marriage rates have dropped. It's why the divorce rates are up. Yeah, the younger generation doesn't.
Well, I hear we're not having kids. I hear we're not doing that anymore.
So yeah. Well, and I mean,
I always get something in my fucking eye.
It's staggering. Cape Cod, the snuffing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
plenty of them for free. Yeah. I mean,
if you're interested in the actual physical side of it, there are places you can go and pay for to have some of these things done to you.
Well, and I know I just saw a YouTube short popped up of evidently they have like an OnlyFans convention somewhere.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I'm going to assume it's in Las Vegas because that's where they do. And this YouTuber went in there and he was like walking around filming and he was talking to people, and he happened to stop and talk to a woman who at that point said, "You owe me $20." And he was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's my time. Everybody in here, you got to pay for time."
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "What?" And then like her bouncer came over and was like, "All right, pay up." And the guy was like, "Dude, I didn't bring any freaking money." I mean, he's like, "I didn't know I was going to have to pay for this." And she was like, "You filmed it. If it's on camera, you got to pay." And he was like, "Holy shit." And like, he went to ATM machine, got $20 out, walked over and paid the bouncer and then left. And he was standing outside, like filming himself like, dude, this is like crazy.
Yeah.
And
some of those girls take it very seriously. Some of those girls take their shit very serious. And there are a lot of girls who I've seen the Facebook post rants from these girls about people wasting their time and stuff like, oh my God. Especially, in other countries, it's very popular. Like you think it's taboo here in America. Well, over in New Zealand, it's an everyday fucking thing. I got news for you. This is every day.
Like I recently saw all my posts are blocked. Well,
are you dangerous?
Mr. Brown is dangerous.
Actually, both
I think Robert is having the same issue. YouTube's all over us today.
Well, because I don't see anything here, guys. Everything that is in StreamYard is in. I mean, StreamYard's pretty allowable, so I'm surprised whatever came up got blocked. But
what was that? What was I going to say?
We were off on a tangent somewhere, but I'm fucking high and I don't remember. The OnlyFans thing, the whole OnlyFans, yeah, and
they
fuck Joe Biden. That's what Jesse says.
Yeah. I mean, that's always a easy go-to. No, God, I was going to say something, and I totally lost my.
Well, I know you seemed a little off-putting by the whole. How could people put money into this kind of a thing?
Well, it's not even the. I mean, look, the internet porn is nothing new, and that's OnlyFans is just live stripping. Basically, it's internet porn. I'm just surprised at the staggering amount of money that it's generating, because somebody brought up Pornhub. I know Pornhub is the biggest porn website on the internet. It has the most traffic. I mean, like some ridiculous amount of hits per day.
I don't remember. I know I've looked at Pornhub too. I mean, come on.
But
I mean,
money-wise,
and not just as a guy. I mean, I've looked at Pornhub, but I also as a social media director. It's a social media platform as well.
But it doesn't. OnlyFans generates more money than Pornhub does.
Yeah,
which is
well, and there's a reason for that. It's because of the platform.
It's because the amount of money
the platform works. Only Pornhub is like YouTube, basically.
It's how advertising.
OnlyFans gives you more of a direct connection to the content.
Yeah.
So,
it is staggering. The amount of money. I mean, it's billions of dollars. Like, man,
some of Pornhub is free. If you really want to know, yes, some of Pornhub is free. However, what you'll see now is there's been a change in the media on Pornhub. So what girls are doing now is they're using Pornhub to basically solicit their OnlyFans page, more or less. So you get a short video of a cute girl doing her thing, and it basically the whole time she's telling you to go over to her OnlyFans page and pay her.
Yeah. So it's basically the same thing as like
watching
people who have Patreon that are going over to YouTube making videos to go over to my Patreon to watch stuff.
Like Joe Collin without tits, basically.
That bringing Joe Collins into this entire conversation is not. We can't do that. There's a mental image that's going to happen at some point that's going to be terrifying.
That's why I'm not hooked up to his Patreon. I got news for you. I'm not looking at that.
The George Costanza painting. I'm imagining Joe Collins with RC the George Costanza painting.
That's fucking great.
1,000 points for JB. 1,000 points for NorCal for his Alzheimer's is real. I don't know what happened to that thought. It just went away and it never came back.
I actually wanted to comment on that. I don't know if many.
Gone. What the hell?
Somebody. I thought you turned your phone off. This isn't the Operation 11 Charlie show over here. You can't just fucking answer your phone while we're going on.
I don't even. If it doesn't have a name, I don't pick up the phone.
I thought you were fucking professional.
Professional schmanefessional. Man,
I was going to say, I don't know if many people know this or not, but fibromyalgia actually causes brain fog every now and then. So every once in a while, I lose my thoughts generally, which is so much fun, especially when you are high. That's why Rich takes notes for us.
I mean, I have this conversation with my wife all the time because she's a woman and she will remember the third word of the fourth sentence of a conversation that we had 2 months ago.
Jesus. Wow.
And she can ask me like, hey, when we were at that restaurant last week, what did you order? And I'll be like, what? What restaurant? We went to how can you not remember what restaurant we went to? Like, babe, throughout my just day-to-day doing my work, there's like 8,000 numbers that go through my head every single day. And there's all this other nonsense going through my mind during the day.
Be lucky I remember my name.
I don't remember things all that well. Not to mention I am getting slightly older here, so
I call him sometimers.
Notice.
That's instead of Alzheimer's, I call him sometimers. Anyways, Bash Gabe's in the house.
What's happening, Basher boy?
We're here talking about getting stabbed, OnlyFans.
That wasn't even on the notes. That just happened to be because it popped up in on my newsfeed thing about this big gal making all this money, and I don't particularly understand how that happens. Okay. If this
because that there are enough men out there willing to pay for it, Rich.
And
it's just like there's enough people willing to fall for that bullshit lie over there at Operation Lemon Charlie. I mean,
Well, I mean, some things are understandable. Everybody wants to do their part and support the vets. Which
there you go. Well, support fat girls. Jesus. I mean, they need a little support as far as
they need a lot of support. That was actually remembered something I wanted to put on my list.
Well, reset the page. I don't know. Yes. Did you try turning the machine on and off? It's like not only can he post, it is stopped in the chat.
Oh,
yeah, take one for the team, right? You ever been a wingman where you just like, hey, your buddy goes for that good-looking girl, and you just got to kind of take the one with the goofy eyeball?
I have been a wingman, and it is a noble duty,
right?
Noble duty,
absolutely.
But there's only there are limits to wingman. There's limits to it. There's
how far do I push the envelope on this topic? Like that's
how many people can we offend this week? I heard a really good one this week, and it only works if it's an Asian guy telling it, but it's still funny anyhow.
Okay.
So it's because I'm an Asian guy, my pronouns are he-ya. I don't know why that one, it got me last night.
Oh boy.
I was laughing and I was like, man, that is a good one. Because I got that, yeah, man, and then I don't know where it is, but I get these YouTube shorts that pop up all the time, and it's like, it looks like it's a comedy club, but there's like a bunch of comics sitting at a table, and then another comic comes out, and they let the comic go for a little bit, and then they basically just roast him or her or whoever it is.
That's right. Everyone rides a scooter, but you don't tell your buddies. See, there you go. It's like I will drive anything with wheels. I mean, I'll be running around in a minivan as long as my friends aren't watching. That's
Basher Boy, I considered it for about 10 seconds. Considered it. Because
I saw that. Is that the truck?
No, they made the original RC10 out of all clear plastic.
That's the
so like all clear polycarbonate. Yeah. So it's like a display piece.
Yeah.
But it looks cool, and it's not like a limited run or anything like that, which was it was kind of why
RC Basher Boy, I could see you doing something cool with that. I don't know. I guess it depends for me. Like, so something like that, it's a really nice showpiece. I mean, you'd want. I don't. Are you really going to take? I mean, especially if it's clear, are you going to take it out and run it through sand or anything? Because I think the minute that you do,
yeah, I think they meant it as a display piece because it doesn't. I saw Harley talking about it. It doesn't come with. It's complete, but it doesn't come with everything.
Think it's almost like camouflaged. Like, yeah, like I get it doesn't film well. This is something that I would put high-end electronics in, like super. Like if I had anything autographed by people or anything like that, this is what like if I had a motor that was autographed, yada yada, this is where I'd put my shit. That way you could display that stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, and from what I understood from Harley's Scale News update, and then watching their,
I knew you could paint it too.
Their video on it was that it's not a limited release. It's like they've done a full production run of it. So I was kind of like, wow.
Well, yeah, because you can make it. It's like you said, you can paint it. You can paint the body, and
yeah, I would just rather it have been. For me personally, I would have thought more like a collector's edition kind of thing, where they make maybe just a couple thousand of them. But that, and it's $319. It's just a little steep for basically a really detailed model of the RC10 original.
I don't think you'd even need to paint it camouflage. Like I said, I think if you were just running it out in the woods there in NorCal, you'd like 907 says, 5 minutes out, like just out of my glasses eyesight there range. Oh shit. Propaganda, what's good?
Hey, what's happening, man? Yeah, I kind of thought of it as a display piece, and I would assume that there are going to be people that are going to take it and run.
I didn't know it was an entire production run, but gotta be just my frank opinion is it seems like a novelty.
Yeah. The other thing was, did everybody see at the SEMA show that Team Associated built a 1-to-1 RC10?
Now, how cool is that?
Full size original.
Inside of it, flip it and rip it.
Full size original RC10. King
Take
shot
that to a skate park, yeah. Take that, yeah.
They even got somebody to make the original spiky tires for the rear.
It looks great, man. It looks spot on. Like
it's really, really cool. I mean, if you get that kind of money to throw around, and yeah, you might as well make something cool.
So here's what I'm thinking. I realized that was super awesome. They did it at SEMA. Now, okay, Horizon and Arma have a race car, race truck, race car, whatever. And so do you think this is like a slight stab back at Horizon Arma? Like, hey, oh, you race car. Well, check this out. We put together a SEMA. Look at this.
I would say,
I'll see if I can bring up a picture of it. If are you watching? Could you get a chance to look over? I'll bring up a picture of it for you.
I would take it as, yeah, they were doing a little dig at.
I mean, I know that they did it for themselves, obviously, but
I can't.
Oh, you don't think
for the last few days?
You don't think there's a little stabbing back and forth between the big companies?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Arma and Horizon, their sponsorship deal of the truck, the NASCAR truck. That is not a cheap thing. That is, you got to spend, they're probably doling out at least $1 million for that. And that's not even, it's not a full-time sponsorship. They actually only sponsor that truck for like 4 or 5 races a year where they get the full Arma Horizon paint job on the truck. It's a cool car to have in your RC fleet. Yeah, I mean, the RC10, I still have an old gold pan up there, my original gold pan. Yeah. The Mojave 4S is probably the best new thing on the market right now.
I think I'd never done this before.
I've been seeing pictures of that RC 1-to-1 like 1,000 times for the last 3 days, and now I can't find it. Now I can't find a single picture of it.
I am sharing it, right?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Just freaking cool.
I like oh, there we go. Okay, I finally see it now. I like this picture better, to be honest with you.
What color is the car she's holding?
What car? Oh, she is holding a car. I'll be darned. Is that one of those? This is one of those clear bodies. No, I don't know.
I saw really.
There you go. There's the shot that I saw from the side, and if you look at the wheels and the cab and everything, and the lights and everything on this thing looks spot on.
Yeah, I mean they did a phenomenal job. It's just cool.
Anyways, all right, let's see.
I saw a really funny one of it. It was a girl sitting in the car, and it's got the picture up above it, and the girl's sitting in a car with this really low top, and she's talking about how something happened to her, and the picture drops away, and the voice comes over. It's like, was she wearing her seatbelt? and it was another girl that was watching, and she was like, why you got to entrap me like that?
Yeah.
Like, ain't nobody paying attention to the friggin' seatbelt there.
God, the first 37 minutes of the show have been pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I mean, getting stabbed, OnlyFans, Team Associate. The other thing I want to talk about, though, is I know that RC Propaganda disagreed with me, but on the whole stabbing back and forth thing. But that's not my point here. It's more of has anyone noticed that in the past few months, John Schultz himself seems to have gotten a slightly bigger head? Is that just me, or?
See, I can't say anything. I haven't been paying much attention. Freaking squirrel. I know that the squirrel in the attic. I know that sound.
Yeah, he's not talking about squirrel brain right now. He's actually talking about squirrel.
My own personal experience with John was he was.
What are you doing breaking drive shafts?
He was pretty engaging. He was pretty funny. I stood for a pretty good amount of time talking to him about his Jeep, because his Jeep was what Axial made the first gray Jeep. They kind of modeled that body after his Jeep. And we were talking about that because that guy has gone all over the place with that thing. I mean, he's wheeled that Jeep all over the U.S.
Well, I mean, I met him and I talked to him, and he seemed like a nice enough guy. I'm just saying, like I said, it's only been in the past few months. Like I said, the Team Associated has really seemed to have blown up.
Well, and I think Associated has kind of been. I mean, Associated's been around for a long time, but they've been relatively quiet.
Yeah.
I think partially because Element, they created Element. Element came on the scene, and it just kind of stole their thunder. Nobody was talking about Associated anymore. They were talking about Element, and it was like, well, they're the same company, right? They just made a new label on their sticker machine.
Rich brought a zoo for snakes, now squirrels.
NorCal, you have no idea. I have more freaking wildlife running around here than I know what to do with.
Was that, you remember Cinderella with the birds and the mice and everything like that? That's Rich's house. Rich lives in a house like that. It's just, he walks around singing in the morning, little birds land on his arm.
Do you remember the movie Fletch 2? Chevy Chase? And the scene where he's singing, Mr. Bluebird's on my... That's what I feel like when I go outside. There's just an endless supply of wildlife running around. I got rabbits, woodchucks. The woodchuck is kind of rare. I got bobcats. I got mountain lions. I've heard rumors about bears. I don't think we've had a bear around here in quite some time.
Snakes.
I got deer. I got squirrels. I got snakes.
That's Snakes in a Shed is Rich's new band name.
Yeah,
Snakes in a Shed. It's where they bang shovels and scream like little girls.
Yeah, I didn't think Tennessee had big spiders, but evidently we do. They're big and black, and they resemble a tarantula, but they're not a tarantula. So there's that. I'm looking forward to running into one of those. And everything else.
No, I don't know. I just noticed that it was actually just now that really kind of got me. There was a release of the SR71 or something like that. It's a new item from Team Associated. It's the Hoonigan car done over, but it looks like it's in 7th scale or something like that. And he lifted up the body like he was gonna show you the pan, but he didn't show the pan. And I was like, with that little teaser, I don't know, maybe it was just intuition or something I caught out of the corner of my eye or something like that. But I'm beginning to think that John Schultz thinks a little highly of himself lately.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't.
Not quite exocage status.
Talking about that Hoona truck. I don't know if that's really. I mean, Associated knows what they're doing. They've been around the business for a long time, but yeah, you guys really want to start going toe to toe with Arma?
Well, and that's what I mean. Look, like I said, man, you talk about a poke. You don't think poke backs happen? You don't think people in the RC world get pissed off at each other?
Oh, I'm sure they do. And I mean, Associated is not, they are in and of themselves, not just they're part of the Thunder Tiger Corporation. So they're not exactly, shallow pockets themselves, but it just, a 1/7 sort of.
No, you wouldn't normally think that people would really care, but people are. Let me. Oh my God, let me break it down to you like this. You wouldn't think that Javier would care so goddamn much, but he told my goddamn friends, and they're out here trying to run me over on the street.
I'm more thinking along the lines of maybe Associated is recognized that people are pissed off at Horizon.
And that could be it too.
That they recognize, look, Horizon has not done a good job. They've not been doing a good job. They've managed to fuck up quite a bit lately. And maybe Associated sees this as an opportunity to
rub it in their face.
Slide into that.
And I'm not saying that they didn't have it planned in the first place. Like, this wasn't something that they already had coming. And maybe it's just kudos to the gravy that they get to. Maybe they really didn't think about it. However, I know that people in the RC world get upset with other people in the RC world. It happens. And when that happens, even if you're in a huge company, guess what?
I mean, it's cool. It's a cool looking car. I'll give them that. I mean, they've They put some good detail into it.
I don't have anything bad to say about Team Associates.
That's rather comical. Like they have a picture of it sitting next to their other Huna corn car, and it dwarfs it.
Yeah. Because I had the first Team Associated Hoonigan.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I think all the RC companies right now are just scraping the bottom of the barrel. They're just scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point.
Well, and here we go with another Hoonigan. I mean, you guys couldn't come up with anything original, like.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do a big street basher kind of thing, yeah, I mean, go look at all the cars that competed in the unlimited class for Pikes Peak.
Right,
they have some really
wild, crazy, cool looking cars.
Yeah, and they're super fast, and they're kind of ridiculous, and
people like things they know. Oh yeah, definitely. I don't like change.
Yeah, Basher Boy, I agree. I think Team Associated's been around, and they know how to keep up with competition, and I kind of feel like this is one of those Associated's recognized that Horizon is. I mean, they royally screwed the pooch with the motorcycle. Then they came out with the Baja Ray 2.0 right after that, and that was a shitty release.
Well, being such a big company with events all over the place, you kind of can't keep falling on your fucking face. I mean, there's a reason that Axial Fest West can't happen at that fucking location anymore. You know?
Well, and there's a reason why that yeah, as a whole, you can see as a whole attendance is just flat. You see the same number of people going to events year after year after year, where it was like first year of Axial Fest there was 400 people, second year of Axial Fest there was 1,000, third year there was 1,500, and then it just kind of plateaued.
Yeah, everything in the world has gotten more expensive.
That is the biggest problem of everything right now. My wife is struggling.
Except for my OnlyFans page. You can get.
Well, I mean, as far as things are concerned, there are two places that are not suffering from Bidenflation, and that is the United States federal government's got plenty of money to throw around, and OnlyFans seems to be not being hindered by inflation at all.
Extra money to travel is not there, and that's a whole nother thing, is how much did you spend? I have so many questions. One of the other things I wanted to bring up was with the Hoonigan car that they pulled out. Do you suppose they had that planned at the beginning of the year? Because I mean, I just feel like Ken Block is dead, and I don't mean to be Debbie Downer about this, but it's like.
But the Hoonigans have carried on. The whole Hoonigan team has carried on. They're trying to continue doing more. I know Ken Block's daughter is starting to get involved in some of the stuff. Can't keep promoting on YouTube, showing a great RC that has new issues. YouTube is for little guys showing the truth, in my opinion. And unfortunately, YouTube is
squeezing out the little guys.
YouTube is squeezing all us little guys out.
Anybody who wants to talk about the truth, we're dangerous.
Yeah.
We're dangerous.
Better than the one. I have nothing bad to say about it. That's true. So I agree. I think the Baja, and I'm actually kind of angry that I waited for a while to get my Baja Ray 1.0. And it was like 3 months later when the 2.0 came out. I was kind of like, oh, damn it. I would have rather had the 2.0. Not that I'm not happy with my 2.0 or my 1.0. It's still a great rig. It's got some shortcomings to it, but I think I addressed most of those with aftermarket stuff. So
I thought about answering this last time because NorCal brought up buying weed. Is weed legal in Michigan, or I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get you into any trouble. You don't have to answer that. I guess I could look it up.
It is.
Is it recreational or is
it is recreational? I think there's only.
I don't want to tell you guys because when I looked it up and found out what I pay, yeah, you guys would just throw up. So, yeah, what is with paying for premium YouTube?
It's supposed to be so you don't get any commercials. You get more. There's more premium content. But to me, that's like buying the tier 2 of cable television.
Great, I can watch more Harley. That's exactly what the fuck I need.
So there are 4 states where it is currently not legal: Idaho, Wyoming, Kansas, and South Carolina.
Oh, really? Oh.
So there are a handful of states where it is still medical. So basically there's all of the states that you would think that they're legal in: New York, California, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico. Typically your more blue states, it's completely legal. Your Midwestern states are not completely legal, but it's not illegal.
That's so fucking NorCal right there. That's
all the states you need to be high to live in.
I can't afford weed. Like I said, if I told you guys what I paid out here, you guys would shit. It's next to nothing out here.
Yeah, I'm with propaganda. I don't think I could afford. I don't think I could afford weed. But here in Tennessee, it's only partially. It's like medicinal legal. It's not recreational legal.
Well, I think me and Rich had an agreement. I mean, I think everybody knows what I'm doing over here and everything like that, but I don't want to promote this on the show. This isn't something I want people to feel like, hey.
20 gram. Yeah, it's. I don't have a problem with it. I never have. I've never had a problem with weed. I've always thought that making weed legal was less harmful or equally as harmful as alcohol. If they could find a way to do a quick test, like a sobriety test for driving, to test people while they're driving. But I also don't, driving high isn't the same as driving drunk. And people who are high have a tendency less driving, whereas alcohol, you become a superhero and you think you can do everything. Weed makes you just want to sit at home and eat Fritos and watch movies.
Yeah, everyone is different. Everyone, I've met functioning alcoholics. I've met people, like I worked with a guy at construction who would get up and start every day with Baileys and coffee, and we'd be standing on a goddamn roof all day, and I'd be like, how do you do that all day long and not fall off this fucking roof, man? He could do it. He could do it.
I think I told the story about an old racer friend of mine that was a functioning alcoholic, that I don't understand how he functioned.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way propaganda is. I could probably drive better high than most people could. I mean, I've had an incident at a hotel where a guy came up and complained to me that the kid who checked him in at the nighttime check-in was totally high. I knew the kid most of his life. He's never been high. And at the minute the guy's yelling at me, I'm the manager, and the minute the guy's yelling at me, I am stoned out of my mind. I had just been over at the local park. I had just lit up. I was ripped. And he's like, that kid was lazy. I was like, dude, I bet he was tired. He works like 2 jobs. He just works construction for 18 hours and then comes in here for like 4. Like,
Yeah. Hey, Sofa King's right. NorCal's right. He would only fall off the roof if he was sober.
Yeah, probably. It'd probably be a bad day if he was sober. It'd probably be a bad fucking day because
that's how Johnny was. Johnny, when Johnny was sober, he was miserable to be around.
Absolute fucking wreck.
Johnny, when he was drinking, was normal Johnny. And I mean, when I say functional alcoholic, guy could put down, a half a fifth of vodka before breakfast.
Yep.
He'd get up in the morning, and that's the first thing he did was have a drink of vodka.
Well, I say Bailey's and coffee, but it was more like Bailey's, and then he poured like a little coffee on top.
Yeah, and Johnny was a mad genius in a sprint car. He could drive the wheels off of that thing, but it is, functioning is you get so used to doing it. It just is second nature. So you don't feel, and it's that chasing the high thing.
I can't do it either, propaganda. I can't drink like that. There's no way. And especially with my fibro, it's for some reason it reacts to my fibro when I drink. I know that's not everybody, but it happens in me, and I get like 10 times sicker. Like your hangover for a normal person, my hangover is like, no, I can't even. I'm not crawling out of bed today. We're not doing that.
I am a bad drunk. It's why I don't drink anymore. I'm bad on multiple levels. I don't do well with alcohol. Certain alcohols are worse than others. But
you just need a bunch of meth. Yeah. Dehydrate yourself first. That sounds great before you put alcohol in you. My God, how fast do you want to die? And that's why I say legalize everything, because if you legalize everything, we will kill off the weak.
Yeah.
Come on. Any idiot who wants to do meth and then drink a bunch of alcohol gonna fucking.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, it's kind of what fentanyl is. Fentanyl is just freaking wiping out people left and right.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. The kids, the poor kids, just taking out kids.
Well, and the dude, I watched him walking around freaking Watts and talking to all of these freaking drug addicts living on the street, and they're like, fentanyl is better than heroin. It's way better than heroin. I don't have to use a needle. I don't have needles laying all over the place. It's better for everybody. It's better for everything. And I'm like, I guess that's one way to justify it.
No.
You got a 50-50 shot that it's going to freaking kill you.
Congratulations, Gabe. It takes a lot to be sober. It does. It takes a lot to be sober. I've quit drugs several times in my life. Other drugs, very hardcore drugs, and
that's
right. You talk about fentanyl. I was on methadone,
yeah.
And I quit methadone all by myself. And I did not realize that methadone is basically synthetic heroin.
Yeah, and it's what they use to get heroin addicts off of heroin.
Well, and most people who go to methadone clinics and stuff still get help. They still get help from someone. They're still. Yeah. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have it. I got. I get to go take a hot shower right now because I'm not feeling great. So
we did a job up in San Francisco. It was a brand new 40-story apartment building, but it wasn't really apartments because they sold the apartments kind of deal. And we did, they put in, what is that fancy gym? Super fancy.
Golds?
No, fancier than that.
Mama didn't raise no quitter. I tell you what, NorCal, I would agree with you, except for there are some things in life that will kill you. There are some things in life that will kill you, man. What kind of gym? Fancy gym?
It gym, like a, it's not a family gym, but it's a high-end, exclusive kind of gym deal. But we were building all of that in the third and the fourth floor was where the gym was at. But the project itself was just at the very edge of Man, I'm drawing. I can't think today. It's
and I'm the one getting high.
It's right at the very edge of the Tenderloin in San Francisco, which is basically the shithole of San Francisco is the Tenderloin. Well, right across the street from our project was a methadone clinic.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about it. Yeah.
Oh my God. I only went up there once. And so they had armed security.
Sean had to deal with something like that. I know Sean's in construction. I think Sean told us the story where he was working across a methadone clinic.
And I mean, it was adventurous because at the, kind of at the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, and the end of the day, there's a whole lot of traffic coming and going from the job site. Everybody's coming in the morning, and then there's lunch break, and then everybody's leaving in the afternoon. And my guys just every day had a story about some random person having a freaking mental breakdown from the methadone clinic across the street.
Oh yeah.
Like, 200 or 300 construction guys all like peeking over like, oh, look what's going on today. Drink beer, drive Suzuki Samurai. Driving the Suzuki Samurai, it's surprising that you're still alive.
Let me tell you, yeah, no ABS, no power steering.
Do you know that next to the Yugo, the Suzuki Samurai is still rated as one of the most dangerous cars ever?
That's kind of
more dangerous than the mid-70s Pinto.
After being around Suzuki Samurais most of my life, it takes a lot to be stupid in the Suzuki Samurai.
I think once you've driven a Samurai for a bit, you kind of learn. You just learn what you cannot do. You learn its limitations.
No, Dad should have died 10 years ago. I'm going to tell you because...
I agree.
Is that how long your brain aneurysm was?
God-given products. No synthetics. 7 minutes closer to Jesus.
No, I was with Dad. He had a green Samurai, and I can't remember. I think it had a fiberglass top on it. It was black and green, looked pretty sharp. I liked the way that one looked. It was nice and clean. And we went around a corner one time, and he had his wallet on the dash, which there isn't much of a dash in a Samurai. He had his wallet up there on the dash, and we went around that corner, and his wallet flung out the dash. And I don't even know how he made the corner that fast. I was like, Jesus Christ, we should have been flipped over end over end. No, man, it's about, if you know your vehicle and how to drive, and yeah.
And that reminds me of, my buddy Jay, it was a 67 or a 68 Ford Falcon.
Ooh.
That another buddy of ours had been restoring for kind of several years. He had been just slowly.
You're a neat car.
We had finally gotten it all back together, and he put this batshit crazy 427.
That seems reasonable. Yeah.
And probably easily pushing 600 or 700 horsepower.
Well, a Ford Falcon's a tank, but okay.
But I remember Jay and I had a 1984 Ford Thunderbird with a semi-built 302 V8 in it.
Shit. I thought that Falcon was a tank.
Yeah. So and it was not built like the Falcon. The Falcon had like way more horsepower to spare than it needed.
Yeah, no shit.
So
you could have gotten out and pushed that Thunderbird faster down the road.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about the Thunderbird was it was the suspension was so much better. It could go through corners better. So whenever we were not racing, we never raced each other.
Never.
But whenever we were,
I had to get by him on the interstate.
Yeah, it would. I always had that little bit of an advantage. And I remember he and I were driving home one night. I don't remember where we were at and why we were in separate cars. But we were driving to his dad's house, and there was one of those spots where you would turn out to turn right into a place, and then there, like, somebody pulling out would have a little bit of a run to merge into the traffic, maybe a couple 100 feet long or so. And I had him licked, because once we got past that point, he couldn't get past me because I could just block him the whole time. He passed me on a right turn lane in that Falcon. And as he was passing me, it was the same thing. He had his wallet on the dash of it. And as he whipped the car to come back into the lane, I watched his wallet boop out the window, the passenger window of that car. Yeah. And him slamming on the brakes and having to pull over as I'm driving by.
Not fair.
I also remember he had this, it was a Nissan something, a piece of shit. It was like a little two-door thing. And we were driving down, we were on our way to our friend Gary Howard's house. And we had gone over to his dad's house and worked on the race car. And then we were going to our friend Gary Howard's house, who lived down in the valley. And it was raining like crazy. And he decided to go through like this back canyon road where there's a wash that goes through the through the road.
Rally.
And we're zipping through there, 50, 60 miles an hour. And there was Jay's driving. I'm in the passenger seat, and our friend Big Al is in the back seat. And right when we get to the middle of the river, which is probably 3 foot deep or so of pretty fast moving water, Jay just yanks on the emergency brake of that car.
Wait, what?
Nobody knows why, not even Jay. It was just seemed like a good idea at the time.
This seems like it might be cool.
We managed to do, I believe, 2 360s without hitting anything. I think partway through the third 360 was when we hit the embankment with the back of the car, which kind of bounced us back into the middle of the road.
And you're fine. Going. It's like a total rally move.
I meant to do that.
I've pulled that. I mean, how many people? I mean, I'm sure that most of these guys have had a good driving experience, right? You're out there driving around. Come on, man. I can think of a few times I've been on the road that oh my God.
I have, I know of at least 3 times where I should have died, where it was just dumb, stupid luck, and the hand of God is why I'm sitting here.
Right. I mean, how many of you, we're all RC guys. We're all car guys. I mean, I'm sure most of us, if you got in your car and you've pushed it at least once. I mean, come on. You've been a daily driver today. I mean, got to test the brakes, right?
Yeah, I made the mistake of buying a year-old 1992 Mazda RX-7.
Really?
When I was like 20, at the time I believe I was 21, 22 years old. Just dumb.
Do you mean
dumb car for somebody that old?
How many miles did this have on it? Now I'm jealous.
It was low. It was like 15 or 20.
That's that. Oh my God. Because a rotary 70,000 miles and then in a tow. So
it was good. I mean, that car, I had that
You're
car.
Still in Cherry.
I had it for a couple of years before it it went to the great car collection.
I did see a comment that didn't. I thought I saw a comment that didn't make YouTube chat. I think it was about synthetic drugs. I only partake in God-given product, no synthetics. Did that 431? Yeah, that did not make the cut. Apparently, they don't want you talking about taking not taking synthetic. See, YouTube wants you to take synthetic drugs. That's what this is. I finally, I'm putting this together. It's a conspiracy.
Man, Basher Boy, that movie was a classic. Blue Streak. Yeah. That is an absolute classic.
Vanishing Point? That's one of my favorites.
No, Blue Streak.
No. I know Blue Streak, but I you know.
Oh, tiny 426 Hemi. I guess for a Hemi that is small.
In a Belvedere though, like it took 80% of that motor just to get rolling. Like
that was like the Cadillac Sedan DeVille that I had was it was a 460 in it, and that wasn't even enough.
That wasn't even enough.
It wasn't even enough.
You could put out another 4 horses, real horses out front to help. And it...
Kowalski in that Challenger.
Yeah, man, I love that Challenger. I don't know what it is, but that Challenger in that movie. And then it was they redid it in Grindhouse. If anyone saw the Tarantino Grindhouse films, that car is sexy to me.
I don't understand.
And I'm not a Mopar fan, really. I mean, I don't really have a fan. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not a big Ford fan, but Ford has some nice cars.
Yeah. I mean, the F-150 is arguably the nicest all-around truck that you can buy.
Well, I mean,
when it comes to the interior and the styling of it, and
you go back, I mean, there's a couple great Fords. There's been a couple great Fords. The Ford GT40 is still one of the greatest racers.
Yeah.
I mean,
that sounded a lot bigger than a fucking squirrel.
Oh, it's got a witch in the attic.
Probably got a fucking raccoon up there now.
You did say it was leftover spooky cat. So,
yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, today was the post-Halloween Spooktacular.
Fixed or repaired daily. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You probably have leftover Halloweeners up there or something.
Yeah, Ford. First on race day. Freaking Okie. Really dig them.
Yep, the classic 68 Mustang. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Eleanor was...
Nice car. And I mean, I'm not a big Mustang fan, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to drive it. Shit, I never liked those Fox bodies. I'm not a Fox body fan, but I still drove one time for a little bit, and it wasn't a bad car. It actually had a little bit of pep to it.
I had a friend Ricky who had a Fox body 5.0.
Yeah,
that thing was an absolute maniac.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a whole.
What? There's a whole family. Did you go or something?
There's like a whole convention going on up there. Yeah.
What?
Squirrels.
All I can think of is Buick, which is barfed up, icky caramel corn.
Man, I see there's not a lot of Ford love here.
Yeah. You know, I always thought that the little hatchback, the Ford Focus STs and the RSTs right now that they're coming out with, those are pretty quick cars.
Yeah.
like you said, I'm not a big Ford fan. I don't like the Ford Sync in most cars. The actual like connection with your Wi-Fi. I don't like that stuff that they're doing.
I have not found that any car works that well with that.
My Hyundai works pretty good,
but
it still has issues every now and then. I mean, it's not perfect.
Ours is like sporadic. The Genesis is sporadic when it works, and it's yeah. But like BMW, Mercedes,
that feel
pretty much every car company out there that has a Bluetooth Connect thing, they all seem wonky. I don't think Bluetooth technology is worth a shit anyhow.
Pontiac, Dad. Way to go with the Pontiac there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Pontiac stands
at
for.
Least
that's a long one. So it's got to be a good one.
At least he got it in there to where YouTube would read it out. I mean, I'm just impressed.
Honestly, NorCal, I think BMW and Mercedes, for how much money you spend and what you get in a car, they're not. I
don't know. I had a very nice BMW. And weren't you looking at a Mercedes? Didn't you post something about wanting to have a Mercedes the other day, like a Mercedes SLR AMG or something you saw parked there?
I would. I wouldn't mind either BMW or Mercedes, only because.
And I'm talking to you, NorCal.
I like the idea that Mercedes, and I think it was Mercedes that started doing it first, which was they have closed loop oil systems now. Both Mercedes and BMW have it. They have closed loop coolant systems. So the only way that you can drain the coolant and drain the oil is via a vacuum. They don't have drain plugs anymore. They don't have methods for which anybody can just basically can't change the oil in your own car.
Well, and so I owned a 2012 BMW, and when I went down to change the oil, they had to come in and ask me, how do you check the oil? Because there's no dipstick. Well, you actually have to turn the car on and have the computer check the oil for you. And I had to explain that to those guys, and that's when I knew. I was like, all right, well, I guess.
And it's by design. Mercedes and BMW both by design. Basically, they don't want people taking their cars anywhere except the dealership. And it's why they offer all of these things for free. So, I think BMW is zero maintenance. You have to do zero on your BMW, other than if you wear out the tires, you got to put new tires on it. But even the dealership will take care of
regular things like tires and brakes.
But they schedule you for regular oil changes. They take care of all of the maintenance. They do everything. And it works out in their favor because they have high turnover rate. So they get their cars back as good as new because they know everything that's been done to that car. Oh, McLaren, Mercedes. Yeah. Parked in a grape field. Oh.
I knew it was one of the high end. I can't tell some of the differences in some of the Mercedes. It's the noses. I have to look at it from the front. Otherwise, because the SLGs and the AMGs and the whatever, man, Mercedes makes a ton of shit.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to high end cars, I'm a Ferrari guy.
Had to cash out the savings bond and to tune it up. No shit.
I would still probably take a used older Ferrari over a new Mercedes or BMW. Anyhow,
it depends on what we're really talking about here and what I have the money for. Because,
like the Mercedes AMG CLK Black series that they did,
yeah,
those cars were ridiculous. They were just ridiculous, and that would probably be a pretty awesome car to have because nobody would know. They would just see a black Mercedes and they're like, oh, that's a pretty nice Mercedes. And then you'd go and you'd be gone.
Yeah, 911s are nice cars. Especially certain 911s. There's certain 911s that really kick ass.
The 911 Spider, the like the early 2000s 911 GT2 and GT3s, those cars are pretty freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, I was thinking the 911 3.6 turbo. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, NorCal, the AMG Mercedes, the black AMG Mercedes they were sick. It's like 690 horsepower with like 750 torque.
But that's what it comes down to. Dad mentions it. There is it's the maintenance, and that's basically so. Like, if you want to buy a Lamborghini and everything, I've heard the best way to do this for a person who doesn't have a lot of money is to buy the Lamborghini, but then rent that one out. Rent it out. And what you can rent it out for, you'll pay for maintenance for that car, and you'll be able to go buy another one.
Well, and I mean, honestly, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, a lot of those cars, they're not
a daily driver. It's not something.
Yeah, they're not. You can't daily drive them. Most of them, you wouldn't want to take it, even though it's like a race car. You wouldn't want to take it on a racetrack.
That's not quite set up. They do setups. They do tunes for that.
And I've seen.
But you could buy a Lamborghini track. I mean, Lamborghini and Ferrari also make track cars. That's what most people forget. Yeah,
that was the Ferrari FXX was a track only car that you actually didn't get to keep the car. It was basically a lease program. And what it was is you would call them up and say, I want to take my FXX out to Laguna Seca for the weekend. And they would go, okay, we'll meet you there. And they show up in a big old tractor trailer hauler with a whole crew of people. They wheel the car out. They get everything set up for you. And then they turn you loose on the track and say, have fun. But it's like basically you have your own crew that shows up with the car. But when you're done, they take the car, put it back in the trailer, and drive off with your FXX.
Never leaves the training course. I have an RC one. Shelby Super Snake. Oh, Robert, right up my alley. I am a Shelby fan. I've always wanted an AC Cobra myself. That just screams to me. I don't need a big block. I could take a 350 AC Cobra and have a ton of fun. I
saw an original
oh God,
Cobra. You know how much
they're worth?
I saw one at the Pomona Fairgrounds. There was a guy there that he had it chained off, but it was a Shelby Cobra Daytona.
Oh wow!
So okay. It was one of the race cars.
Yep.
That it had the top on it and everything.
Yep.
And
very cool. Very cool. That's a rare car. There's not too many of those fucking left.
And it was at the the Pomona Swap Meet, which is every second Sunday of the month at the Pomona Fairgrounds in California. They have a big car swap meet where, literally people bring cars like that down there. Sometimes just to show them off like he was doing. Sometimes they're selling them. That was a huge treat. Because on the same day that I saw that Daytona, I also saw one of Evel Knievel's jump bikes. A bike that he had actually done a couple of jumps with, which was pretty cool.
Well, and a total hell to drive. I mean, you get in so much. Like I said, I watched a lady get in a Cobra one time, and she couldn't get it into gear without spinning the tires. She couldn't get it. I mean, she couldn't even get it into gear without spinning the tires. So it's like, yeah, man, you got that much horsepower with that little weight.
And they that there's a big difference between a road car and a race car.
Yeah.
Most people, when they get into a race car, they don't realize how there's a lot more effort that goes into driving a race car than a street car, because they don't have all of the niceties. Like the original Cobras didn't have power steering.
There's no, yeah.
They had a rack and pinion steering setup that was not power steering. So you were muscling. It's why they had big steering wheels back in those days, for leverage.
Gotta go, guys. Have a good week. Take it easy, Cape Cod.
Yep, take it easy, Cape Cod.
Cape Cod, if you get a chance before you go, drop your dream car.
Oh, yeah, there you go. A 996 Porsche Turbo 2. The Diablo 3 is... The Diablo in general is probably the best looking Lamborghini they ever made.
What was it was the SVVT, the Lamborghini, and that was the one that had, basically it had all-wheel drive, and it was like one of the first Lamborghinis to have all-wheel drive.
So that's the Diablo.
Yeah.
The Diablo was the first all-wheel drive Lamborghini, and it is still an absolute classic. And follow, yeah. Basher Boy's got he's got good taste. Ferrari F50. Honestly, I like the F50. I still like the F40 better.
1963 split window Corvette Lamborghini Diablo SV. That's right.
Oh, a 69 Z28. Yeah, 63.
Yeah, I love
split windows were awesome. The what was it? The 67. I liked 67 Corvette with that the V down the back window. Man, yeah, we could go all night talking about
cars. Yeah, cars are something. Like foreign or American? Well, what's your choice there?
Yeah. Yeah, Basher Boy, I'll tell you. I have favorite cars from different eras because there's...
I could not fit a Mustang hard climbing.
It's funny, Robert, because I'm a little over 6 foot, and I had a friend of mine who has a Z07 Corvette.
Oh,
that I was surprised at how much room was in that car. It's enormous inside. It's like, dude, this is like fucking luxury in here, and it's a Corvette. And I was equally surprised at the, I think he has a 20. I think it's a 2019.
Got to be careful talking JDM because Basher Boy will correct us here. He's really good at his JDM stuff.
Yeah, it was I think it was a 2019 Shelby Mustang, and that thing was the most uncomfortable car to sit in that I can recall in recent memory. Oh, absolutely, NorCal. Who the original designers of the Corvette, they hated people.
Plymouth Barracuda. That shaker hood is, I mean, yeah. Oh my God. Isn't that sexy? And especially the way they did the paint job with the Hemi down the side or the Barracuda in the letters. Oh man, those cars were hot.
And see, that's why I have to pick cars from different eras.
Right. And I was with NorCal on the GTR. Now that depends on which GTR, because I'm pretty particular about my GTR too. I like the R34.
The R34 is an absolute animal. The Godzilla is the R32, which was, that thing was insane. But equally so is the newer Nissan GTR.
There's still,
which is a
twin turbo 6-cylinder, 600 something, 700 horsepower, all-wheel drive.
It's still out 0 to 60s like 95% of every car made right now.
You know, and it's funny. I'm going to go on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The GTR's launch control system is heads and tails. Nissan is heads and tails above everybody else.
I'd like to see how many people, though, could, like, especially American people, could get into a GTR and drive the damn thing from Japan. Because
I don't know if everybody knows, I had an R34. I had a right-hand steer R34.
What?
Yeah. 1,120 horsepower. Thank you very much.
Nice.
That is, bar none, hands down, one of the scariest cars. I've driven sprint cars, and that R34 was fucking scary.
I can imagine.
It was a scary car to drive because there was no point in that car at any point.
That's almost one of those ones where you can't let into the clutch without spinning the tires.
Absolutely. Whatever gear you were in, you could spin the tires no matter how fast you were going.
Yeah.
You'd be doing 150 miles an hour and stab the throttle and spin the tires.
Wheel spin. Hell yeah, I love scary cars.
Which I just watched a video last night, which is
street manners and all. You know, you never know when you got a shift like that. I mean, it happens. That's why you're out.
Yeah. If you guys have never watched Team Ez TV, Thomas Meserol, he's a dirt track racer, but he's also a drifter. I think at some point he's done some stunt work and whatnot. He got to drive a 1975 Grant King silver crown car that after it was finished racing in the 76 and 77 season, the owner made it street legal. So a Silver Crown car is a longer wheelbase sprint car.
Oh, fun.
And he made it street legal. Brake lights, turn signals, the whole ball wax. And Thomas Meserol, evidently knows the owner, went and took that thing out for a drive. And yeah. A was a great era for sprint cars. The 70s into the early 80s. They're still one of the coolest looking.
That's periods. When Dad drove sprint cars. He drove sprint cars in the air. Yeah, and he drove.
It was
before they had wings. Before they had wings.
It was the first era when they actually had a full roll cage. And it was back in the 60s and the 70s, before the gas crisis and all of that hit. It was back when car designers actually liked designing cars. They didn't just make god awful ugly shit like they do nowadays.
NorCal wants a sleeper. I like some of these guys' picks. The dad was a 69 Olds Cutlass W31. I don't know. That is not a well-known car, but a kick-ass car.
Yeah. That's like the mid-'80s Buick Grand National.
Well, and Jesse with the Buick Skylark here, 327, small block. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm a small block fan myself. I like the sound. I love the sound of a big block, but it's
the best engine
gas dollars. I can just see my dollars dumping down the intake.
The best engine sound of all time is small block V8 and a zoomed small block V8.
Now I had headers. I didn't have zoomies, but I know what you're talking about. But I mean, I had a set of headers coming off a small block 350 that had been poured out to a 383. And let me tell you, that had a sound to it. You could take off, and that had just this set, like a NASCAR sound to it, Yep.
Well, I mean, that's the famous Ferrari engine sound, is that super high whine, basically small block V8. But yeah, nothing beats just a good high compression small block.
My dog gets the zoomies. RC propaganda. That Toyota Prius that he was talking about earlier, did you touch on that? Because I was going to mention, Toyota Prius isn't really a joke. Let me tell you something. Those cars are quick.
quick for a car that has an engine with 3 cylinders.
Quick. I said quick. I didn't say fast. There's a difference between quick and fast, okay?
Well, I'll tell you what's coming. And because a bunch of financial experts have all been saying that
907, thank you for stopping by.
Hey, take care, Robert. Be safe up there. I know you probably already got some snow happening.
Why? Please stop talking. Fine. I'll shut the fuck up. Fuck you.
These cars are made today. The high output engines, it's cool, but they're boring. Yeah, nowadays the engines are all about efficiency, and it's not the same. It's not the same as a good old fashioned 500-600 horsepower V8 from the golden era, muscle cars.
I don't know.
You got Bugatti Veyron that's got 1,500 horsepower.
Yeah, that shit's ridiculous. I was just thinking,
not.
It's like fucking Prius. I know, and I know you told me to shut up, but the thing about it is, dude, we were in a Prius chasing around a Porsche. I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. From stoplight to stoplight, we had that Porsche. Now, the thing about it is if we'd had a stretch of interstate, this Porsche would have left us in third gear. I mean,
well, there is something that's coming. And because the EV market isn't working out so great for automotive makers, Ford, GM, Toyota, all of them, they're all talking about how people don't want them. They just don't want electric vehicles. The only electric vehicle that people really want
they suck
is the Tesla.
Yeah.
And,
did you see? I saw one of the brand new Hummers, one of the brand new EV Hummers, dead in the middle of the road. And he had to call the tow truck guy. And imagine you just bought a brand new Hummer and now you're going to have it towed. Like,
the new Hummers, it's trash. It's absolute trash.
Here's how I feel about, like I said, EV cars. Where EV cars is at is like on the drag strip. Let me tell you, because you have all that torque and all that horsepower right there instantly, and you can set that up electronically as you go down to give you more, so you don't bust off the line and everything. I mean, that's amazing. Okay.
And that's Joe Rogan was talking about. He's got a Tesla S.
Other than that,
like, I leave it in ludicrous mode all the time.
Yeah.
Always in ludicrous mode.
Other than racing it around, what would you, I mean, seriously, it's no good. It's no good. It's worse than it. It's like a glorified sports car. That's exactly, like, I can't.
I mean, honestly, the EV market, I've been saying it for forever. Electric vehicles is not the wave of the future. It just isn't. Battery power, electric power isn't the wave of the future. What might be the wave of the future is ammonia powered.
Well, I heard about this.
Yeah, this is something that Toyota and Honda have both been working on. Toyota is saying that they're close enough now that they think this is technology that's ready. It's ready to go now.
No, but if you bought a Prius and then bought like 2 high-powered capacitors, then you might have something that's fire.
Yeah. NorCal, the only problem with hydrogen is the storage. Storing hydrogen is dangerous. It's a highly
flux capacitors to go. No, but that's how they're doing it. Like Lamborghini has made high-powered EVs. I think of the Lotus one because that's the one I like the design on and stuff. But how they're doing all the power in those cars, like 2,000 horsepower out of an EV car. Well,
capacitors.
They're doing it through capacitors.
You can store massive amounts of electricity in them, and then
have a high discharge.
They can release a massive amount of charge all at once. And all you really have to deal with is heat.
So if you had a Prius with 2 Lamborghini capacitors in it, imagine how much fun that might be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the hydrogen. Hydrogen is more expensive. Ammonia is a cheap, and it's a cheap byproduct of several different industries, which is a bonus. One of which is plastic production. Plastic production. Well, depending on the type of plastic, but they have ammonia is a byproduct, and generally at most of these plants, what you'll see is similar to a oil refinery or a oil drilling rig. Is they just have a flare burning, and it's just burning off the excess gas to keep it from blowing up inside the well. But yeah, oh man, the McLaren Basher Boy, the McLaren P1 was freaking slick when it came out. And the trick with the P1 was it was only partially hybrid. And it was most of the time it was running on the petrol motor, and it just picked and chose when to use the electric power so that it was at its most efficient and most output. Kind of like the Porsche, I think the Porsche 918 is their hybrid, or is it the 919? Their hybrid is the same way. The electric portion of it is really there to help the car launch off of the line, use a bunch of power, but once it gets moving, once it gets rolling, the electric motor pretty much just, they all shut off, and the petrol motor powers it.
I eliminated.
So you get all of that torque. Yeah, no turbo lag. Yeah, NorCal, it is the 918.
Yeah, what made me fall in love with foreign cars was I had a 1993 Audi S4, and that year it had the all hand-built Quattro. And that,
yeah, my buddy has an S. Actually, him and his, I think he got rid of his, but him and his wife at one point both had the S4 wagon.
Okay.
And yeah, he had the diesel version because he drove like 2-hour commute each way. Right. So his was kind of a pig, just performance wise. Hers was a rocket ship. I remember when they first bought that thing, and he came over to my house at like 8:00 at night one night, and he was like, "What do you think of this new car?" I'm like, "Dude, you bought a fucking station wagon?" He's like, "But it's an Audi." I was like, "Yeah, it's still a station wagon." And we went out for a drive, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude, that's a station wagon."
There's a sad story behind my Audi, but yes, Audis are sick. You do have to be a cock to drive them.
Audis and BMWs they have the reputation.
When I drove a BMW, for a while, I like all black, looked like the Batmobile, I swear to God. And I remember I was working at AutoZone when I was driving that thing, and the regional manager came in and he's like, "How do you afford that on your?" And I was like, "That's really none of your business, is it?"
Don't you worry about that.
Yeah. What the hell do you care?
Yeah, this turned into the
Hot Rod show.
The Hot Rod show. But I mean, look.
I think we wanted to talk cars for a long time.
Generally, RC people are car people.
Right.
Well, I mean, RC car people are car people.
I didn't hear Thompson chime in at all with anything, so I hope he's a car guy. But I think most of you are.
And it's funny, there's I think pretty much everybody has a favorite muscle car. Doesn't matter what kind of car guy you are. If you're a, lifted truck guy, if you're a, German sports car guy, if you're a European touring car guy, doesn't matter. Everybody has a favorite muscle car.
Oh, yeah.
From the muscle car era. Because, they were pretty much the coolest cars ever made. Because there's one thing that Americans know how to do better than everybody else in the world, and that is to be ridiculous about our shit.
Well, and that's so gassers, gas dragsters, hot rods, rat rods, stuff like that. Like, it finally came muscle cars. You can say muscle cars, and that pretty much all just kind of falls in that category. And you're like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yep, we are petrol heads at heart, all of us. Because you have to be. If you're in the RC cars, you have to be some kind. You got to be a car guy.
Shifting gears and kicking queers. I mean, wait.
Oh yeah, Jesse, the classic Cadillacs.
The 50s with the
50s with the fins. Plymouth Barracuda, favorite truck, 1972 Chevy 4x4, and
sure.
Yeah, my favorite is just because of sentimental is 1976 GMC Stepside 4x4 because that was the truck my dad had.
Oh, okay.
And it was shit brown with one of those funky camper shells that had like the little raised section in the back.
How Elvis. There's something to be said though. I mean, a Cadillac I had a couple 93 sedan DeVilles and I loved them. I mean, nice ride. Nice road ride.
I mean, if you could afford the gas, there's not a better car to go road tripping in than an old Caddy.
Well, and the best thing about that is like, I had Boston acoustic speakers all the way around and two 12-inch subs in the back. And I mean, shit.
And the car was so big that still wasn't
enough.
I
mean, I could have put way more in that.
Yeah, I remember
at least two more bodies in the trunk would have fit with the box and everything.
Oh yeah, I remember the guy that owned the sedan DeVille that I had because he just gave it to me to drive for a while because I didn't have a car at the time. I remember when I was younger, we went to Ascot Park and my family and his family all went down in that car. So 7 people drove that car to Los Angeles and back. And it wasn't uncomfortable. It wasn't like we're all cramped in there. It was like freaking, yeah, we're going.
No, that's back in the day when the stewardess could still walk down between you and the seat and offer drinks.
When he gave that car to me to drive, I remember sitting down in the front seat because it was the first time I had ever actually driven it. But I remember sitting down in the front seat of it, and I'm getting ready to leave his house. I remember like looking over the passenger seat, like, why does that seem like it's so far away? Like, that's way over there.
How long do your sideburns need to be to own a 60s Cadillac? That's a good question. My best road car was a 71 T-Bird 429 with rear suicide doors. Oh, yes.
NorCal. My buddy, 805 Stickies, he was in here last week. He has, I believe it's an 86 or an 87 Suburban with the ambulance doors in the back. And then his brother has like a late 70s Suburban with the ambulance doors. And
I swear I rode around in one of those. I had a girlfriend who had one of those. I swear to God, with the doors open. Yeah.
Because they had the version where it was I think they had a single swing
barn doors. Okay.
Yeah, they had a single swing outdoor version where there was a big window that went up and down, and then they had the ambulance doors that open like that, and then they had like a hatchback version, I think.
Which must be from a different era of culture because they're calling them barn doors. I didn't know they were called barn doors either. or ambulance stores, as Rich knows them. Goddamn car terminology. Have you ever run into this like at an auto parts store? Like this is probably the worst things that can happen to us auto parts guys.
Lincoln Continental. It was a 1967 Lincoln Continental 4-door that had suicide doors from the factory. That was
I've been in some Winkins too, but I'm not a big Winkin fan.
Yeah, I mean that was just an enormous car. And
well, I mean, I've been in some really they're big. They're typically a road car, you know.
Yeah, I mean that era of well, I think Lincoln from the beginning was, semi-luxury.
Well, it's just like Cadillac. It was a match. Yeah, it's like Ford's match to Chevy.
Yeah, it's Ford's luxury model.
Yeah.
I have been in an Escalade once, and
that thing looks like a tub.
It's not. It's not as nice as I expected.
Yeah. This
I remember my mom had.
This is like the Lamborghini Urus, right?
Yeah, my mom had. Because my mom had a couple Thunderbirds.
Okay.
Started in the 80s with the first swoopy car. That was a car I inherited. Was her first 84 Thunderbird. But she kept in Thunderbirds all the way up until like the mid 90s. And then she switched over and bought the Lincoln Mark 8 when the first Mark 8 came out. Because there was the Mark 7. The Mark 7 had the North Star system. And then they had the Mark 8, which they made a sleeker version that had the North Star system. That car was an animal. That thing was badass. That was a badass car.
I've heard those North Star motors are pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean that thing was a monster, and it was a total sleeper because it didn't handle all that great because it was still kind of had that Lincoln-y floaty Cadillac thing going, but it wasn't that bad. But it had enough horsepower to make up for it, which. Never was a fan of the old 50s T-Birds. Something about that like portal window.
Yeah.
In the back, it was kind of like, dude, it looks like you're driving around in a cruise ship.
Submarine, especially if they're yellow.
Yeah, more in the 50s. I like more of the Cadillacs from the 50s.
So like I said, I guess I need to be more out there and push the envelope more so I can become dangerous. I need to become dangerous on Facebook.
Or just post more Steven Crowder pictures.
Maybe I just need to post more Steven Crowder.
And then you'll just become...
I wonder if I could do one of those AI face meshes where I mesh with Crowder. Look like me and Crowder had children that are dangerous.
I honestly don't understand what happened to that guy. I have my suspicions that that guy's having like huge roid rage issues. Because I mean he's built, he's freaking, the guy's yoked. But man, I had to stop watching him because he's like super aggro all the time. And I mean, he was aggro all the time before, but he's like even more intense now. And it's like, oh, dude.
Oh, these sons of bitches come up in here and call me bitter. I mean, what I'm just messing with you, motherfucker.
Pinto wagons. Man.
Wayne's World?
I have some great memories of a friend of mine that had a Pinto. We had some fun times in that car because at the time,
the Gremlin,
it was old it was old enough that they were still around, and it had been long enough that the reputation for exploding into flames anytime somebody ran it had kind of been forgotten. So we kind of drove around in the thing like it was a tank, not realizing that it wasn't a tank. But yeah, it was a fun little car. It just was. It was just ugly as all get out, but it was a fun car.
It's like what we say earlier. I don't want my friends to see me driving this, but I'm going to drive this around the block. Hold on.
Yeah.
Because I'll drive anything once, even the fat girls. That's. I'm not.
I'm glad my days.
As long as my friends aren't watching,
are over. Glad. I've said this in private to Justin before. I don't fit in the single world anymore.
Oh God,
I don't fit.
It's awful out there. It's an awful world out there, and I'm
I
not
don't fit. I don't understand. I don't understand. 90% of the women out there. I don't get it. I don't get them. Yes, Basher Boy, when they got rear-ended, they would explode in a ball of flames because the gas tank was literally like right in front of the rear bumper. There's no crush space whatsoever.
Yeah, it's gas tank back there. There's nothing between you and it.
Pinto and Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah, the Japanese cars. I think of the AE86 or something like that. Oh my God! You know,
well, it was like the 70s. You know, when they had the gas crisis and everything, and like Honda and Toyota and Datsun, they were already making these kind of
fuel efficient, kind of mid-range hot rods. I mean,
kind of, because they were all using that inline 4 that was just bulletproof, and they could wind those things up to 9,000, 10,000 RPMs all day long. So, you could just freaking wring their neck all the time. And all you had to do is just the minorest little things, and you could squeeze, 150, 200 horsepower out of them. And yeah, next thing you know, you got a Datsun B210 station wagon that's a freaking rocket ship. Not to mention they made everything out of light gauge steel panels.
Right.
So they were light, great fuel mileage.
Oh, you got anything you want to end the show on? I was trying to think of some RC something. What else?
Traction Hobby. Traction Hobby's got a new. They have a new truck coming. It's the Ford Raptor. They made a
again.
Yeah, I think this is the new Raptor. So all new body style of the new Raptor and everything. Typical is like it's their 1/7 scale or whatever it is they make. But it looks cool. I mean, they put like a shit ton of LEDs in it, so it looks pretty freaking scale. And the other one was I don't know the name. I don't remember the name of the company that like does aftermarket shit to the FMS rigs. I saw Harley. I was like skipping through the Scaled News update, and they made a Hello Kitty RC van.
What?
So FMS evidently has a van, like a crawler, or maybe it's a 1/10 FMS that they put the Pro line, but they painted the body up with a Hello Kitty theme. It's like, there's something seriously wrong with that. Like, who the hell is going to buy? What self-respecting man is going to buy a Hello Kitty van? Even as a joke, you're not going to buy that. But for whatever reason, they decided they're going. Oh, I do remember I was starting to talk about on the new Mojave red white. Oh, the Ivan Stewart, the Ivan Stewart livery. The one of the most iconic race liveries of all time. The Ivan Stewart Toyota yellow, orange, red. Bar none. One of the coolest looking race liveries ever. Because Toyota carried that everywhere. They had it in their prototypes, the Bajas, their GT cars, everything. All the factory Toyota during that era had that same paint scheme to it, which was just cool. Plus, it was Ivan Stewart, and Ivan Stewart's.
Well, I mean, okay, so it's a bright pink paint job. As far as I can tell, I don't. Was there Hello Kitty decals on that one?
Yeah.
Because I can't find one with the.
Yeah, if you go and watch Harley's Scale News update,
we're gonna have to. They must have made one special because, like I said, I also know it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so the pink I kind of understand, kind of.
Yeah, I just saw it was one of Harley's segments in his Scale News update. I was like, "Hello Kitty, what was wrong with you people?"
You can choose the Ivan Stewart colors for me.
Yeah, next week I'll get into talking about the. I did kind of a little rush side project last week, the last half of last week and over the weekend. Wow. That was.
Is that over there? That's weird.
For some construction that's going on at the LA VA hospital, and I happen to be talking to my customer about the.
It's like a slice of pizza hanging in the air the whole show. Did you see this? I don't know how I got this.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about your virtual background is not.
It's all white. Hope you guys enjoy pizza.
Yeah, I'll talk about it next week. The scale of this, the money scale of this, what they're doing at the LA VA hospital. It's shocking when you learn how much money is being spent on what they're actually doing. They're basically making a bunch of changes to the parking lot.
Seriously? We need millions of dollars so we can repaint these lines here.
It's worse than that. Worse than that.
We're just gonna have some people go out and move some signs around.
Oh, it's staggering. It's staggering the amount of money our government wastes on shit.
Well, I can't wait to see what you found out. Awesome.
It is, yeah. I was actually like, what? Because I was joking with my customer, like, shit, dude, I should have charged you way more money for this. Like, had I known the scale, the magnitude of this, I would have charged you with, like, how come you didn't tell me this beforehand?
Right.
Not that I joke, but I don't typically do that. But yeah, I was like, the last time I was that shocked about the cost of a project was probably a little over 7 or 8 years ago when I was still living in California. We had a local high school that was taking their track and field track, and they were going to turn that into a football stadium because they had shared their football stadium with another school. There was the high school that I went to school at. We had a big stadium there.
I understand.
And we shared that with that school. So they would play their home games there. We would play our home games there. And then twice a year, we would play them home and visitor at our field. But after many, many, many years, they decided to build their own field on their school where their track and field track was at. And this is equivalent of putting some grandstands up and building a building that was a ticket booth and a snack bar. And that project, I mean, you can imagine that project was almost $100 million.
What?
Yeah. To build some grandstands and a ticket booth and snack bar building. Almost $100 million. And I was like, if you guys paid me that $100 million, I build that shit by hand.
Dude, all we got to do is we'll go swing by a Home Depot and we'll figure it out next week. How's that?
That's our government spending. And this VA project makes that look silly.
Awesome.
So, on that happy note, everybody, all my tax-paying friends, we are done. We've hit that fabulous 2-hour mark for the show. Thank you all once again for coming and hanging out. Thank you, JB, for hanging out and co-hosting and keeping me somewhat on track.
Don't pat me on the back too hard.
Everybody take care. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend. Do something fun. And we will see you back here next Wednesday.
Tell your friends.
Everybody can comment next week on the rearranging of my office. So now what was originally supposed to be the background for doing stuff like this is back.
I keep forgetting. And make sure to tell your friends and tell your family and people you don't even care about the show and that they need to come watch.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell that guy at Taco Bell that the shit that needs to be said show is the shit. All right.
Yep. All right. So now it is just that end of the time when the stream ends.